Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the ToLiss Airbus A321. Something slightly different today. We're going to do a little flight in VATSIM. We are here at Heathrow, Terminal 5 for our short flight. It's going to be up to Manchester, so just a quick flight to see if all the systems work and I've got VATSIM up and running correctly. It's taken me a while to get it working, so hopefully this has worked and we can have a bit of entertainment from it. I am a real-world Airbus pilot. Do have a few thousand hours flying the Airbus, so I'm just doing this to give a bit of perspective maybe for your home simulations. It's not for any real-world use, and I won't be using any official airline procedures or anything like that. It's just to have a look at the systems and the Airbus and see how it compares. Thank you very much for joining me for this flight, and let's get underway. So here we are on the flight deck. It's in a almost ready state. I've got the APU up and running. Give the passengers some air. We can remove the ground power. And I'll do that on here. Go with that. I've already got the ATIS, which told me that we're expecting to take off from runway 9 right here at Heathrow. My flight plan is quite short. We're going to do a northerly departure on to Altib, then join one airway, Tango 420 to Trent, and then at the Dane arrival into Manchester. I think both airports have air traffic controllers, so that was the idea, so it should be quite fun. Going through our diff trip on the MCDU, we had the active database, flying shuttle 588, cost an X of 10, low cruise level 180 for this short flight, up to Manchester with the alternate of Heathrow. We're just going to return here, obviously, why wouldn't we? Nice and close with lots of runways. Flight plan, just as you saw, except from 9 right and then Tango 420, which takes us all the way through to Trent, which is the start of the Dane 2 Alpha arrival into Manchester. Secondary is just a copy of that active. Radio nav aid is auto-tuned. And here's our weights. 65 tons zero fuel weight. 6 tons of fuel on board gives us a bit of extra fuel. I'm not sure how busy it might be up there. Alternate fuel to come back to Heathrow of 1.2 tons. So yeah, pretty good. Performance loaded in, flap 1, flex 42 from 9 right, speeds 150, 153. And that's all there and ready to go. So what I'm going to do now, I've already filed the flight plan with air traffic control. And let's just see if the flight deck is set up as we would want it at this point. So passenger seatbelt signs are on, everything's aligned, we've got our stop attitude. I haven't got clearance yet, so that will come shortly when I speak to air traffic control, which hopefully you guys will be able to hear, and we'll get our squawk as well. Something that's probably worth doing on a flight this short is to bring up some of the charts already. So we've got our ground chart, expecting to go from 9 right down here to take off. Altitude departure takes us north up towards Manchester. I'll also bring up this could be a mistake because I might need to go back there. There's the Manchester. I can bring up the arrival, which will be the, wrong one. Arrival of Dane 2 Alpha. Quite simple, into Dane, hold, and out and around. On a short flight like this, you can expect pilots to prepare at least, or maybe brief some of the arrival before you even set off, because you don't want to have to spend time in the air doing something you could have done already on the ground before you left. Then the RS. Right, that would be enough for now, and we'll get the ground chart ready once we get there or on the way. Okay, so we'll go back to our Heathrow ground charts and let's contact the tower. We've got information. Papa. There's an ATIS, so tower, they are using 1185.
Taxi Alpha, hold short Echo.
Alpha, hold short Echo 276.
So in real life, I would imagine this would be done through the ACARs in the MCDU, but you can always get a voice from air traffic control, which is what we'll do now. It's funny, I do this a lot in real life, but I'm slightly nervous before doing it live on the VATSIM.
154 kilo, keep it hello, continue approach window 9 now, 121.975.
Oh, there we go. 121975. Good job I listened in before I got in trouble for that. Heathrow delivery 121975. Right, let's give them a call. Heathrow delivery, good evening. Shuttle 588, Airbus A321, stand 505, QNH 1026, request clearance Manchester.
Shuttle 588 Manchester, correction Heathrow delivery, good afternoon. Cleared Manchester, Altitude 1 Juliet departure, score 5016, QNH 1026.
Cleared to Manchester, Altitude 1 Juliet departure, squawk 5016, QNH 1026, Shuttle 588.
Shuttle 588, read back correct, but ready for push and start.
We'll go Shuttle 588. Okay. So we check that carefully. We've got the QNH 1026. We've got the Altitude 1 Juliet already loaded in. Altitude 1 Juliet for Shuttle 588.
Delta 62,
And now, squawk 5. See if I can get this to work. Oh, not that one.
After departure, climb straight ahead to
5,
DME
0.
Then turn right heading 220 degrees.
6.
Finds altitude 6,000 feet. Squawk 7675.
Okay, what I'm going to do, just to sweep up, let's have a look through the checklists in here. These can be quite good, so just check. We've got all the doors are closed, beacon light will go on. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. Obviously, again, in real life, you have plenty of checklists that you would flow through to make sure that this was all done properly between the two of you. So I'm going to tell the traffic we are ready to go. Before I do that, actually, let's just have a look. How far do we need to push back? I'd rather go a little less than too far. So what I'm going to do is we want tail right by 90, and we want a distance of, let's try 60 meters. Start push back. Okay, when we can get a word in with their traffic, we will ask for our pushback.
Squawk 0370.
Beautiful evening here in Heathrow.
Departure DT1 Juliet, squawk 0370, QNH 1026, Iraqi 035. Iraqi 035, read back correct, but ready for push and start. Iraqi 035, ready for pushback.
This is quite common in real life. You end up waiting
035, hold position,
at busy airports while everyone calls up for their push and start clearance and clearance for en route and so on.
Actually, Iraqi 035,
Oh dear.
Can I get the Compton 5 Juliet departure? That's what it used to be known as, but it's now, because of the standing agreements with London, because it's non-standard departure, we have to give you the after departure instructions. Roger that. Delta 62 Heavy is cleared. 9 right, climb straight to London to DME, then right heading 220, climb maintain 6,000, squawking 7675. Delta 62, read back correct, port ready for push and start. And 62 is fully ready. Delta 62, hold position, contact tower 18.5, good evening. Off the tower, have a good evening.
Very busy. Shuttle 588, we are ready for push and start.
Shuttle 588, hold position, contact tower 18.5, good evening.
Hold position 1185, Shuttle 588, good evening. Right, over to tower.
Airport 557 taxi right Alpha stand 511.
Right on Alpha stand 511, speed 555, thank you.
Shell 3 Lima Romeo 09 left, clear to land, 130.
Oh, someone landing behind us. Let's have a look. See if this works.
Alpha, it's 10 minutes, thanks, bye-bye.
That could be them up there.
Contact London Control 134.125, bye.
We've got our tug ready to go. Excellent. I think we'll just push back and then see if we can see that aircraft. Shuttle 588, stand 505, request push and start.
Shuttle 588, Heathrow, tower hello, stand 505. Push and start approved, face east.
The shuttle approved to face east, Shuttle 588. Okay, facing east, so he wants the nose to go that way. And I've told my tail to go right, so let's hope this works. Right, let's run through what we need to do so the beacon can go on. We've got the lead set on. I set the transponder to come on just to the first stage, just a transponder, not for TCAS just yet. And we'll check we've got our thrust levers at idle. Windows are all closed up. Excellent. So we're clear for push. Talk to the ground crew at this point and release the brake. And away we go. We can start the engines now, so but I'm going to actually just make sure this works. Let's see if we see this aircraft land behind us. There he is. Please work. Please work. It needs to start turning soon. There it goes. That was very lucky. Really impressed with this, the X-Plane 11 and the VATSIM. It's all very impressive. And there it comes in that other traffic. Or slightly too far. That'll do.
Left Bravo, stand 301.
VATSIM doesn't seem, or the way I have it set up, doesn't seem to recognise shuttle call signs, so they tend to load up in these other liveries, I think. Right, let's concentrate on what we're doing. So we push back, ground crew will tell us, we'll set the parking brake. That means he can disappear. There he goes, and we get a wave off from him. Let's start the engines. So, start engine number 2. And we'd monitor this quite carefully. These are well controlled with the FADEC, but it's still very important that we know what's going on. So there goes our N2, and we can see the air coming in.
Delta 62, have you ready to taxi 09 right?
Delta 62, taxi second left echo, hold echo 1.
Roger, second left.
Speedboat 19 leading X-ray 6.5, showing on left.
019 Lima X-ray, Heathrow Tower, hello, continue approach 09 on left.
Continue 09 left.
Okay, once we get rid of either this grey box or the available message, there we go, let's start engine 1. There's the noise of the PTU. Can't hear it in the real airplane in the flight deck usually, especially in a long 321 like this, but it is very loud in the cabin. And now we have the same again, so we've got the air coming in, N2 is spinning.
National 2 Lima correction, taxi Alpha, stand 506. Taxi Alpha, stand 506, 3 Lima.
Speedbird 9151 is big cast and we're fully ready.
And there we go, all lit up and working as we'd expect.
Hold November Bravo 11.
The CFM engines on the Airbus start up considerably quicker than the IAE engines that we're using here today. Even that was probably a bit quicker than the real engine startup. There we go, available. That's worked. So that can go to normal now. Let's get rid of the APU. We don't need that anymore. And we've already waved off to the ground crew. Arm the spoilers. Set our flaps to 1. And our trim is for takeoff, which is 29. So I'm just going to bring this along a bit. Pretty much there. It's rare to need to change this much, to be honest. But there we go. Let's just bring it to 29. Great. So we'd run a timer to make sure the engines are warm before we take off. So get that going down there. And I think it's time to request for taxi.
Ready for taxi, Iraqi 7 for Mike.
Iraqi 7 for Mike, hold position. Speedbird 19 Lima X-ray, runway 09 on left, clear to land, 713 degrees 6 knots.
Clear to land 19 Lima X-ray.
Shuttle 588, request taxi.
Shuttle 588, taxi, right Alpha, hold Dasso.
Right Alpha, hold Dasso, Shuttle 588. Okay, so we've been given our clearance. Turn on our lights. Right on Alpha, first right to hold at Dasso. Alpha, and just check. we get all this right.
Delta 62 taxi, approaching after the taxiing, 737 from left to right, taxi right Alpha, hold Hawker.
Probably be in the parking
Taxi
stands.
right Alpha, hold Hawker.
There
Now.
we go.
Right Alpha.
That's the wrong one. Close that.
Tower 1455 vacated Alpha 9.
Maybe on taxi.
1455 taxi right Alpha, stand
And there
right
is Dasso.
free.
Excellent.
Taxi via
So we
Alpha,
check it's all clear to the left and the right. I can do that outside. We can cheat.
151, right clear for takeoff.
All clear. Got our lights on. Release the brakes.
takeoff speed bird.
Delta 60 taxi.
The airplane will move even with idle thrust, especially at these weights.
Roger, hold November, Bravo.
Just get a little bit of momentum going. Check the brakes. Yep, brakes work.
Seabird 19 X-ray taxi right Alpha, stand 517.
Alpha 41.
So we can check our departure. We're going to go off of 9 right, altered departure. If I do that, which I did check earlier, of course, we got our green string out right. Climbing to 6,000 feet on that departure. So that all looks good. It's going to be a flat 1 takeoff. We'll also check our flight controls. I'm going to wait till we're around this turn, once we're heading south on Alpha, to do that.
Rocky 12, Heathrow Tower, low stand 316, push and start approved, face south.
Push and start approved, stay south, Iraqi 12. Iraqi 035, ready for taxi to runway 09 light.
So Airbus A321 is a little bit longer than the smaller ones, obviously, so we take it slightly wider on the turns. Get the speed back below 10 knots is a maximum for a 90-degree turn like this, really. And now bring ourselves around. These are fantastic graphics, really impressed.
Taxi left Echo and Echo 1, Iraqi 035.
Okay, heading south on Alpha, we can bring up our flight control page and let's have a look. So, full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral. Now in real life we would do the rudder, but you can do that moving if you use the disconnect button. That means that the nozzle steering is disconnected, but we don't have that here, so I'm going to come to a stop. Full left, full right, neutral. Great, so we can carry on. The other pilot would obviously do theirs. Be very careful with the N1s on the ground. We don't want to spool up too much, especially in busy areas.
Bravo hold Oscar, Iraqi 7 from wing.
Okay, so flight controls are checked. Let's get the predicted wind shear on. The weather's nice, so I'm not going to use the radar for our departure today. But I can set to auto. I can go to TARA, maximum auto brake. Cabin crew need to be warned, which should make them ready, and takeoff config. So here we go. Nice green ECAM memo for takeoff. Got our clearance.
Shell 588 taxi straight ahead, hold November Bravo 10.
Straight ahead, hold November Bravo 10, shuttle 588. Okay, so we are cleared straight ahead to November Bravo 10, which I can see there. So we're going to straight down Dasso there, couldn't be easier. And we're already talking to tower. Quite a few airplanes here at the terminal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, pretty good. Not sure why they're not loading up orders BA, but there we go.
Delta 6, you ready to go 9 right?
Lots of airplanes at Heathrow. Excellent. 5 minutes for a cold engines, so even if we were saying they were cold, we can see that they're now warm. So I can clear that chrono because we'll need it for takeoff. We're not clear to line up. Maybe that aircraft there is. I'm assuming that's the Iraqi 7. Straight ahead on November Bravo 10, shuttle 588.
Shell 588 behind the departing 737 via November Bravo 10, line up on my 09 right behind.
Behind the departing 737 via November Bravo 10, line up and wait 09 right behind, shuttle 588.
Delta 62 behind the departing A321, line up on my 09 right behind.
Roger, line up and wait behind
So,
departing A321, Delta 62 Heavy.
Oh, that could be the Delta. Let's have a look. There was a 737, they said. Oh, there they go. I can see them over there. IAW, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Iraqi 7.
Ryanair 7 Delta Key for Tower, continue.
I'm not used to seeing the 3-letter idents of the airlines, so that's new to me. Okay, so we are clear to line up.
Cafe 251,
He's waiting there.
after taxiing British Airways A320 onto Echo.
The approach is cleared.
Left Echo,
Put on our lights.
left Golf.
Camera crew have already been warned. Obviously check very carefully on the approach, and there's nobody on TCAS. This is going to stay in norm for this takeoff. We are ready to go.
Iraqi 114 taxi.
Oh, and the lights have come on.
Right
Excellent.
Bravo, hold Oscar.
Right to Bravo.
Okay, so here we go.
Oscar, Iraqi 1.
Feels a bit fast, yeah.
Shuttle 588, runway 09 right, clear for takeoff. Sepsis 130 degrees 6 knots.
Clear for takeoff 09 right, shuttle 588. Great, so that's us. Lots of airplanes around, we don't want to get delayed, so we're just going to do a rolling takeoff. Half side stick forward, set the thrust for 50% N1. There's 50%, and now we're going to
Iraqi 03.
bring the thrust up, and the other pilot would set the chrono at this point. Man flex 42, SOS runway, order thrust blue.
Iraqi 007, contact London control 134.125. Bye.
134.125. Bye bye.
Approaching 100 knots, releasing that pressure on the side stick.
Vacated runway 09 left.
Ryanair 87 Delta, runway 09 left, clear to land. Sepsis 130 degrees 6 knots.
Runway 9 left, Ryanair 7 Delta. Thank you very much.
07687.
There's V1 rotate, so rotating up now, 3 degrees a second, hopefully is what we're aiming for.
Right Bravo, stand 534.
Up to the SRS, there's nav, positive climb, gear up. Gear's coming up.
Delta 62, runway 09 right, clear for takeoff. Assistant 130 degrees 6 knots.
Roger, cleared for takeoff, Delta 62 Heavy.
Shuttle 588, contact Heathrow director 119.725. Bye.
119725, shuttle 588, goodbye. So there we go, frequency change, we'll focus on flying for now. So there we go, bring the thrust climb, auto thrust. I've got the autopilot 1 engaged, and now the airplane will accelerate. Excellent. And I'm just going to sneak a view of our departure. It's the fun of flight simulators after all, so here we go. Another Iraqi aircraft there. Not sure where that Cathay has gone. Focus on the flying now.
Right, Iraqi 035, negative. After the taxiing company 737, from left to right.
In real life you get the other pilots to tune in the frequency, but I'm pretty slow at doing it using the mouse, so I'm going to do it once I've got the aeroplane cleaned up. So there we go, through our S speeds, flaps to 0. And now it was 119.725, I'm hoping.
Heathrow Tower, good evening, American 81 Heavy, stand 340.
I believe I can check that. Let's see, London Centre. Maybe this is Heathrow Director. Not sure. Let's see. Because that would normally be handling the arrivals. I'm going to reduce my rate of climb. Could be a bit late for that. 600 minutes speed. And let's reduce that now, in case there's traffic above us.
Delta 62 with you, passing 2006.
Oh no, it just sounds like it's right past it. Flaps are at 0. So those turn the lights off.
160 knots, 4 DMAs, paper 18.
Contact the tower 18.5. Bye.
Tower 118.
And now we are flying at departure, so I can close that chart.
Delta 62, hello, right turn heading 280 degrees.
Right, turn 280, 62 Heavy.
Heathrow Shuttle 588 on the Ultra 1 Juliet.
588 Heathrow, hello. Traffic above, if you turn left now heading 325, there's no speed restriction.
That's heading 325 free speed, Shuttle 588. Okay, we can do that. We'd like a free speed restriction. So heading, 2 dots pull, alt star, heading, 325. He said no speed restriction. So that's perfectly reasonable. We're below 10,000 feet and 250 knots is coded into the FMGC as standard. But it's here as a speed limit. I can actually now clear that point, clear the speed limit. Oh, no, I can't. In the real airplane, I could. And then the airplane would accelerate. But it's obviously not letting me in this one. Interesting. Yeah, so normally it would just accelerate to whatever climb speed it had above flight level 100. So I'm going to have to do it manually. So let's pull that. Go into speed mode. Let's do 300 knots. And because we're accelerating, I'm going to retract those landing lights because they hang out under the fuselage and they make a bit of noise if you start flying too fast with them, and the passengers can feel the vibration. So short flight today, smooth air. The angle is low. I'm going to release the cabin crew.
Delta 62, climb flight level 70.
And let's see. There we go.
Roger, flight level 70.
Level 6 alpha left turn, heading 120 degrees.
It's a shame I can't see the traffic, but there we go. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that. Do let me know in the comments if you know a way.
Climb now, flight level 180.
I think he meant me.
Shuttle 558, climb flight level 180, redirect Trent.
Direct Trent, climb flight level 180, shuttle 588. Okay.
Shuttle 6 alpha, roger, no speed restriction.
He said direct to Trent. So there we go, nav to Trent, we can see that, and he said 180. So let's put that in. Should be quite clear airspace, so we're going to set our standards. We've got thrust climb, open climb, nav to Trent, and flight level 180 is blue and armed, and up we go. Sneaky view outside of London as we leave it behind.
Shuttle 6 alpha, once established, localized, descend with glide path. Delta 62, contact land control 134.12.
13412, thank you.
Shuttle 588, one is unicorn 122, display away.
1228, shuttle 588, goodbye.
Shuttle 6 alpha, contact the south, 180.
1228. Which I believe in this is going to be 122. We've got a message there. Who's that? London Centre. 1271. Let's try that. Because I think the 128 is just the Unicorn frequency, so let's go 1271. See, I'm really clueless when it comes to VATSIM. I'm just trying my best. Maybe another sensor has come online now.
Descend flight level 200 level by Leicester, danger alpha, arrival, Ryanair 82 Golf.
London Shuttle 588 climbing flight level 180 to Trent.
Shuttle 588.
Oh, great, there we go, another controller, we'll take that. So above flight level 100, landing lights are off, passengers are already released, and what I can do now is go to manage speed, and it will climb at the cruise calculated speed. It's possible to see that on the MCDU performance page. There we go, it's going to climb at 296 and then decimal 82. Let's zoom out a bit and probably go to airports page now, just see which airports are nearby. So in real life, one of you would always be monitoring the airplane very carefully. I'm going to close the charts I no longer need and just make sure I've got an idea of what's going on at the other end. So let's close all the Heathrow charts and let's go to Manchester and refresh just to see what the weather's doing there. So they've got a westerly breeze, so that's probably why they're landing on runway 23. So we're going to level off and then I can load in the FMGC as we've done in our tutorial videos. If you need any help with that, I'll provide the link to those.
London Center, hello again, Ryanair 36 November with you climbing to flight level 370, passing 350.
Ryanair 36 November, London control, resume navigation, directed red 5.
Please say again direct for me, 36 November.
Ryanair 36 November, direct
Direct red FA, Ryanair 36 November.
So we can see approaching our level off. I don't think there's any airplanes above us. They haven't told us, so I can't see it on TCAS. But at these sorts of flight levels, I wouldn't imagine so. Could be, but it's a slightly high rate of climb. But I think I'll leave it as it is for now. That's star and speed, excellent. That was our level up. There's our descent arrow already appearing on the ND, so just 40 miles away. So you'd have already, like I say, done some of that briefing on the ground. Otherwise, you really run out of time, especially if you need to go and use a loo or have something to eat. Our cruise, excellent. Take a second to enjoy that sunset starting to happen. It's lovely weather over the UK today. And enter desk data, there's our warning. So I'm going to take this as the ATIS for now. QNH 1026. Temperature is 12. And 260 at 4. RLS 23 right. Although you'd check that with the ATIS, so that'd be embarrassing if they change that now.
Leicester is the Dane 2 Alpha arrival.
Direct Leicester, Dane 2 Alpha, Shuttle 588. Okay, that's all loaded in. He said direct to Leicester. Now that's curious because Leicester wasn't on my flight plan. Oh, it's a bit of lag. I don't know what's going on there. That's not good. I think it's loading up the Manchester scenery. I've seen this before. We may get a warning from... There we go. Hopefully it corrects quickly. Okay, let's see if I can see Leicester. He said Dane 2 Alpha, so I'm going to check that with him. Shuttle 588. Can you confirm direct to Leicester?
Shuttle 588 from Lima Echo Sierra Tango Alpha and the Dane 2 Alpha arrival.
Okay, direct to Leicester for Dane 2 Alpha, Shuttle 588. Thank you. Okay, so we'll have to do a bit of improvising here because that wasn't really our flight planned route. Let's see if I do that. That should work out. Leicester, and we can see that trend for the Dane 2 Alpha. Perfect. Maybe Leicester is from the Dane 1 Alpha. Aha, there it is. Yeah. Oh, Dane 1 Bravo. Great. Gives us a little bit more time actually, slightly less direct routing. Okay, so let's finish up with this. So we've done our little hats now. So the flight plan, Dane 2 Alpha, RS23 right, go around's coded. I can check the go around here. And using our nav display on plan mode, wind the scale down.
Shuttle 588, sorry, it's my apologies. The Dane.
Oh, there you go.
It's the Dane 1 Bravo arrival from Leicester.
He's realised. Copy, Dane 1 Bravo from Leicester, Shuttle 588. No worries, thanks. Great, so there we go. Red nose. 1095. Excellent, slightly wrong course, but I believe that will change itself. No. Let's type it in then, 232. See if it accepts that. Not allowed. Okay, we'll see. I'm not sure why that's doing that. I may need to fiddle with the settings. In fact, there could be something in ToLiss I've seen about that. ILS auto align. Not sure. I don't want to risk it now in the middle of this, so let's forget about that. But we'll make sure it's tuned up correctly as we come closer to it. So finishing off the hats then, that's the rad now, the progress page, let's put in the 23 right. 80 miles to go. Excellent, we're only at 18,000 feet, so the descent point shown on our MCDU seems not too far off really. We don't need to descend just yet. Probably need about 60-65 miles from here to descend. And we have 97, so another 30 miles till we descend. Yeah, 30 miles, there we go. Radnav, progress, performance, we've loaded in. Got our minima. Fuel prediction, extra fuel 1.7. Final. I'm not sure how it accounts for the alternate fuel. I need to work that out. This is a slightly different style of MCDU to what my I'm used to seeing. So I'll be curious to see, because I don't think we have quite. Let's see, we're going to land with 4.3. Alternate fuel and final reserve fuel is probably something like 2.6 tons, so 3.6.
We are too heavy for the
So
390 right
maybe
now.
1.7 extra.
Available flight
Yeah,
level,
okay, yeah, no, we agree. So that's taking into account our alternate fuel as well. Great, so we've got plenty of fuel extra. Surprised we've been so efficient. And the second regime is going to copy in the active now. We've got this different arrival. Great, so time to get the ATIS. You definitely get the pilot not flying to do this. Let's see if there is a Manchester ATIS available. There is, 121975. They are good, these VATSIM people who set this up. I have no idea how it works. It's going to be tricky now. Actually, what I'm going to do is do it in box 2. Let's see if I can make that work. 121975. So that's now box 2. Box 1 is still there. Let's see if we can receive it. We can. Brilliant.
Visibility 10. Kilometers or more, no cloud detected. Temperature +12. Dew point 1. QNH1026. Threshold QFE 1017. Acknowledge a receipt of information Golf. And advise aircraft type on first contact.
Great, let's go.
Manchester Information Golf. Time 1750. Automatic. Runway in use 23 right.
23 right in use.
Flight level 60.
Right, let's get rid of that before we miss our radio call. What I am going to do, just so I can hear them better, is turn down the sound in ToLiss. There we go. It's better. I could probably turn up air traffic control, but there we go. Okay, so that's our ATIS confirms what we thought and what we entered in here. Just double check the QNH, very important we get that right. QNH is 1026, which is what they reported, 12 degrees.
Under control,
Like
good
it's
evening,
2-3 right.
Romeo Whiskey, holding whiskey on.
I'm going to go for medium auto brakes because I don't want to miss the exit, and I'm going to go for idle reverse because it's a dry runway. And now I've got time. I can bring up the ground chart. God, this is hard doing it all on your own. I don't know how you guys do this. So expecting to land, vacate right Bravo Delta, and I'll see where they send me. It's somewhere here, and that'll be Alpha, that'll be Bravo. The terrain as we descend on the ILS is going to be 3,500 feet to the north, so we'll use that as our MSA. We'll make sure we're visual before we go below that, which I dare say you can see we will be. Oh, which airport's that? I can see that. East Midlands. 133.7, shuttle 588. Thank you, goodbye. 133.7.
Yeah, we're ready, holding whiskey 1, Jersey 1, Romeo Whiskey.
Jersey 1, Romeo Whiskey, winds calm, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
So it's
So
clear
it sounds like
destination,
that Jersey is down there at
runway
Manchester.
27, maintain runway heading. Climbing altitude 5,000 feet, squawk 6460.
This guy seems to be a little bit louder. So expecting our descent soon. I'm going to go to constraints. Let's put the TCAS below us, although I don't think it's mattering today. Oh, that way. There we go.
Golf Charlie Echo, startup approved, QNH 1027.
1027, start approved, Golf Charlie Echo.
Who am I talking to? 1337. I've totally forgotten who he said. So I'm going to cheat and just say center or control. Control shuttle 588, flight level 180 to Trent.
Shuttle 588, London, good evening.
That's London.
Fly heading 330 degrees.
Heading 330 degrees, shuttle 588. Okay, heading 330 is in. And I'm going to pull that. And here's our decelerate message because it's time for us to descend. Yeah, we're within 60 miles. I'm going to have to ask him. I don't think he's going to do it automatically. Shuttle 588, request descent.
588, descend flight level 80.
Descent flight level 80, shuttle 588. Okay, there's 80. We can't do this in managed descent because we're now off the profile, but let's do it in open descent thrust idle, because that's probably pretty similar to how it was planned. There aren't many restrictions on that arrival, as we can see. So MSA 3,500 feet is our highest one. As I said, will be visual. You'd have a very careful discussion with each other about when you expect that to happen. The radio altimeter as well. Probably we could get it activate depending on where we are over these hills. Otherwise, about 7.5 miles on the ILS would be normal. Again, as I said before, we're not using any specific airline procedures. This is just some ideas as to what we do every day.
Flight 71 Yankee, roger.
Now I'm going to cheat as we're all set up, I think, and have a nice view on this.
Flight 71 Yankee, report beacon outbound.
Report beacon outbound, the Flight 71 Yankee. Just confirm we are clear for the localizer DME approach.
FM, you are cleared the localizer DME approach, runway 20.
He's doing localizer DME. I'm not sure where he is. So that was a flight level 80. That's fine. Transition level was 60, so that's beneath us. In fact, what I will do is I will update this with that transition level. Oh, flight level 60 was already in. Excellent. So the transition level would be where we would convert to an altitude. So we could descend now to flight level 60. Below that, we have to convert to an altitude and go to QNH.
Starbird 5 Yankee, London, hello, climb flight level 160. Climb flight level 160, Starbird 5 Yankee, thank you. London, go to Yankee, request taxi.
I am really amazed at the level of detail VATSIM is offering here, especially with this add-on. It's quite amazing. It all feels pretty realistic so far. Perhaps a few more aeroplanes would be around on a normal day in real life.
Negative.
So at the moment I'm expecting I'll be ready for probably a vector here and then in onto the ILS 23 right. We're about on profile, but that could mean we have a few less track miles. So something you need to be aware of is that we might not fly our green line. If we're not, then this dot is wrong. So if we get a shorter routing, then we're actually higher, even though this thing's front profile. So I'm going to look at the threshold. Go back to our progress page. I've got Manchester 23 right written in here. I am at 12,000 feet, so if I times that by 3, that's 66 miles that we need. Sorry, what am I talking about? 36 miles that we need. 36 miles to land. We've got 30 miles. So we are a little bit high if we were to go straight to the threshold from here. We've got a few more miles because we're going to fly here and then. But even so, we're not too far off being high, so I'm just going to keep it coming down at thrust idle. Landing time is 40, yeah, just over 10 minutes. So let's turn on the cabin crew signs, get them ready. And now we can start to see some of the high grounds that we are going to descend over in front of us. I do have some Manchester scenery as well. Aerosoft were kindly had an offer on that on their website, so hopefully when we arrive at Manchester that starts to look good. So something to be aware of is the Airbus will now compute the route to our two-way point. It still says our two-way point is Delta 312 Echo, which we can see is quite a way off to our left. Because we aren't flying close enough to it, the computer will think we haven't passed it yet, and this is what happens. So we actually have even less miles than this suggests, because we're not going to go near that point, and that's 7 miles away. You can see it says 7 right. We're 7 miles away from that waypoint. So it's worth clearing out the waypoints you're not going to use. So I'm going to clear out. Oh, there we go. It's finally swapped to Dane. That's pretty good. I didn't expect it to even do that, but I don't think we're going to fly to Dane at this rate.
London, good evening.
So I'm going to clear Dane.
Inbound Trent, flight level 9.
Let me interested.
Jersey 1 Romeo Whiskey, roger, break right at A2 Golf, contact Manchester radar 118.
That's that way, that seems to work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a centre line from the centre fix to 23 right. And let me just make sure I get the course right. The inbound is 232. So we put in the reciprocal of that. which is just 232 minus 180, and that's going to be 052 as radial in. And then before we do anything, we're going to check it looks right. Okay, so there's our straight line, and now I can insert. I now need to pull on the heading to make sure we don't have any nav modes armed, and now we have a straight line. So this is a more accurate representation of our profile, and as you can see, the computer now realizes that we're about 1500 feet high.
Contact Manchester radar 118.575. Bye bye.
118.575, shuttle 588. Goodbye. Okay, 118.575. So we have two options now. We're slightly high. I can either accelerate,
You okay on the height there?
but we don't have enough altitude to lose actually. So now I'm going to come back on the speed.
Radar, very good evening to you. We're landing 23 right. Descent flight
That way I can
70.
increase that speed at thrust idle when we begin our descent. So let's monitor the level off and check in. Manchester, good evening. Shuttle 588 heading 330 degrees, flight level 80. Airbus A321 QNH. Sorry, we've got information Golf QNH 1026.
Shuttle 588, it's who am I? Manchester radar, very good evening to you. We're landing 23 right, no delay. Descend altitude 5,000 feet on the QNH 1026.
Descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1026. Shuttle 588, thanks. Okay, QNH 1026 to 5,000 feet. I'm going to go open descent. Then we get thrust idle, open descent, which is what we want, and now I'm going to increase that speed.
Shuttle 588, speed 230 knots.
Oh, apparently I'm not. 230 knots, shuttle 588.
Ryanair 82 Golf.
So he's already reduced our speed. He probably won't let us increase it from here until we land. So I want to use the speed brake. So I can do a bit of that to get that descent coming on. In real life, the VLS would increase, and here it isn't. But what we can do to get rid of the VLS is put out flap 1. We're below the speed, which is those little amber dots, and there we go. Now I'm going to go to full speed brake. And we can see we are, Box thinks 2,500 feet high. We want to be in about 7 miles, 3,000 feet. Yeah, we're pretty high.
2 track miles to run, descend 3,000 feet on the QNH 1026.
Descend 3,000 feet, QNH 1026, shuttle 588. Okay, 3,000 feet, QNH 1026 is checked. He said 20. I think that's probably going to have a bit less because he's taking us in quite tight. Minimum altitude of 3,500 feet there. I'm just going to confirm that with him. Shuttle 588. Can you confirm our cleared altitude, please?
Shuttle 588, yeah, my mistake, 3,500 feet.
Thank you, 3,500 feet, shuttle 588. And there you go. That is exactly why we check our altitudes in real life as well with each other and make sure we know where our MSA is before we get here. So 3,500 feet is safe. 3,000 feet is below these, and it's also very close to these hills. We can see 2,000 feet terrain in the vicinity, so we don't really want to be that low. Okay, 13 miles from the threshold. As I said, we're at 5,000 feet, so that's starting to look pretty reasonable. I'm going to bring the speed brake in. I don't want to descend this fast near terrain. And now we'll see the nose gradually rise.
Shuttle 588, turn left heading 260 degrees, descend 3,000 feet.
Left heading 260 degrees, descend 3,000 feet, shuttle 588.
And shuttle 588, you're clear for the ILS 23 right.
Clear for the ILS 23 right, shuttle 588. Okay, he's clear for the ILS. I need to activate.
588, there's no ATC speed restriction now.
Free speed, thank you, shuttle 588. So I've activated the approach phase. I'm going to manage the speed, so that will start to come back. We're below the profile now. I don't want to go down any faster than that because we're already near to hills. So let's start bringing the speed back, 500 feet per minute. And he cleared us for the approach, so I'm going to arm the approach. So there we go, glide slope lock blue, Cat 3 dual and AP1 plus 2. So both autopilots are engaged and the ILS is armed. Lock star, which looks sensible and it's sequencing nicely. So now we're a little bit fast, so we need the speed to start reducing for the rest of this approach. There we go, as I said, slightly early, we're getting that rad out call out because of those hills beneath us, which is exactly why we didn't want to descend to 3,000 feet too early. I want to have flap 2 out before we start down really on the ILS, just to give us the drag we want for the approach. He said free speed, so that's great. Okay, we've got the speed back, flap 2, and now we're activated the approach phase, we're in managed speed, it's just going to come back to the F speed. If I'd left the flaps where they were, it would have added power at S, and I don't want to add power just before I intercept the glide slope, otherwise I'll find it hard to slow down. Glide slope star, we can set up the missed approach altitude for the go-around, which is 3,500 feet. Great, so I'm going to do the last of the configuring. I'll do it at 6 miles if we're still at 180 knots, but we'll see what happens. The thrust is at idle. Let's stick on some landing lights. Now we're getting onto the later stage of the approach. I'll just tell him we're established. I don't know if he wants to know. Some airports like it. Shuttle 588 established, ILS 23 right.
Shuttle 588, thanks. Over to tower 118625. See ya.
118625, Shuttle 588. Thanks for your help, mate. 118625 goes in. There was the red out. That's a more official one. 7.5 miles, 2,500 feet. Well, both are official, but that one is where we expect it on the later stage of the approach. Out of interest, did this nav tune the right course? 233. It did, but it did it a bit later. Okay, 6 miles, but we're back at 160 knots. I'm going to configure and then check in so that I don't forget. That would be embarrassing. So let's go gear down. Arm the spoilers. Put on the last of the nosewheel lights. And ding the cabin crew. And now that goes to there. Let's go to flap 3. And flap full.
Runner 225, following the Logan Air through the hold. Right Alpha, contact ground 121.850.
So as I said, medium auto brake to come right at Bravo Delta for vacating the runway. Great, fantastic scenery. Really impressed with this.
588 tower.
Manchester Tower, Shuttle 588, 5 miles RLS 23 right.
Shuttle 588, good evening. Continue approach number 2, variable 2 knots.
Continue approach, Shuttle 588.
Runner 25, Sierra Yankee, welcome to Manchester for Kate, Alpha Foxtrot.
Ah, so Ryanair vacated in front of us. Light headwind, looking good for landing. Manchester has a slight bump in the runway. I have done a video on the approach before, but yeah, you'll see it as we come in on final approach. It's fantastic that X-Plane does that.
Right, clear to land, surface and calm.
Clear to land, 23 right, Shuttle 588. Okay, we're clear to land on 23 right in calm winds. Performance, it works with that. I can remind myself I've been cleared to land.
Runner 25, Sierra Yankee, after Logan Air passes left to right on Bravo, contact ground 121.850.
So, excellent, we are stabilised, cleared to land.
Exit, so we took Royal Delta instead. We'll give way to the aircraft passing left to right, then contact ground 12185, runner 25 Sierra.
I wonder if we can see them on the runway.
No problem,
Oh, there we go.
a bit better than planned.
And there we go, Ryanair took Bravo Delta. That's what we're expecting to do. So the lit exit is probably the one after that. So that may be why people, or maybe why they took the first one. Right, let's focus on our landing. Doesn't matter if we take a different exit anyway. We haven't told our traffic, they haven't asked us to do one in particular, so we'll prioritise ourselves as to what we want. Okay, so here we go, final approach.
Manchester Tower, very good evening.
See the wings swinging around a little bit. Autopilot off.
Jax 21 Golf Tower, hello, continue taxi hold, Mike 1.
Continue Mike 1, Chanex 21 Golf.
This is where the Airbus comes into its own. In light winds, it auto trims for you. You really don't have to do a whole lot even without the autopilot in when it's all working nicely. But we'll see how I handle the final approach. So it's just slightly to the left of the centre line. Sorry, to the right of the centre line. Flying visually now. Looking at the middle of the touchdown zone where I want to land. Starting the flare. Idle thrust. Selecting idle reverse. Got medium auto brake in, and we're deselling with reverse green.
Runner 82 Golf, ILS 23 right.
Runner 82 Golf Tower, hello.
Okay, we look good for Bravo Delta. Speed's coming back.
Continue approach number 1.
Manual brakes.
Jax 21
Keep
Golf,
it forward idle.
driving Ryanair 737.
And we'll come right here, which is, I believe, Bravo Delta.
Right behind.
I'm going to cheat. Take a look at the outside, just to enjoy.
588, right Bravo, ground 121.850, good evening.
Right, Bravo 12185, Shuttle 588, goodbye.
221 Golf, roger. Line up after the arriving Ryanair.
Now, you'd never do this in real life because obviously one of us has to be flying the airplane,
Ryanair
or
82
something
Golf,
embarrassing can
roger,
happen.
first line, surface wind calm.
So I'm going to just get over the line and then
239, Ryanair 82
stop and then talk to ground. Again, really impressed with the simulator. Get that speed under control. No traffic around. Looks clear to go onto this taxiway. I'm expecting to use Bravo. In real life in Manchester, there's a aero park here where you see lots of spotters usually having a look at the airplanes. Usually try and give them a wave. Okay, I don't want to send too long here because there's an airplane vacating behind us, but let's bring it to a stop. Set the brake before I get told off. Contact ground 125. I'm going to retract the spoilers and turn off the big lights, as well as the predicted wind shear and the radar, which I wasn't using the radar. How did I get that frequency right? HTC ground 125. Yep, looks good. Okay. Manchester ground shuttle 588 vacated.
Shuttle 588, Manchester ground, good evening, taxi stand 42 via Bravo.
5 Bravo to stand 42, shuttle 588. Okay, there's a great question. Where on earth is that? We've got our ground charts. Bravo straight ahead, so let's get out of the way of the plane behind us. And 42, I believe, is going to be in that cul-de-sac. Let's look. Two, great. So brakes released. Let's get moving. There's the Rhino vacating after us. So we'll get ourselves out of the way. Bring the flaps up. Turn the lights. And we want to get the APU running so that we can have some ground power. Oh, have some electrics.
Manchester broadcast for clearance, contact delivery on 121.7. I say again, delivery online 121.7.
Well, I hope that was fun for you, just to see a flight with full air traffic and so on. It's been a learning experience for me, trying to use VATSIM and so on all at the same time. And yeah, doing it all single pilot is quite different to how we do it in real life in some respects. So it is hard work. So hopefully I'll get more used to handling the airplane entirely on my own. That looks like that there is some sort of ground scenery on my stand. I don't really know how to get rid of that. If someone could let me know,
Manchester ground, very
that would be appreciated.
Ryanair 82 Golf on Bravo. Ryanair 82 Golf, Manchester ground, good evening, taxi stand 49 via Bravo, Juliet and Golf. Stand 49 via Bravo, Juliet and Golf, Ryanair 82 Golf.
Right, we are clear to carry on. We're still using Bravo, and then he's Juliet Foxtrot to 42.
Speedbird 1371, stand 737, request IFL to London.
Ah, he's just appeared on my stand. That might solve my problem.
1371, contact delivery on 121.7.
Ground 121.7, Speedbird 1371, goodbye.
Oh well, we'll see if this does happen in real life all over the world, where you end up with a stand that's not available because somebody's still there. Let's see if we can play the game a bit. At Shuttle 588, I see our stand is vacated, is still occupied. Do we have another parking stand available? Maybe 4-4?
Shuttle 588, my apologies, I didn't see it was occupied in the first place. Taxi stand 43, in that case it's the one next to it on the right.
Stand 4-3, thank you, Shuttle 588. Yeah, I don't think they can fit a 321 onto 4-4 actually. Now I think about it, let's release the brakes and carry on. Very hot brakes, I'm surprised by that. For the brake fans, you would leave them to warm up a bit. If you thought they were going to get much hotter than that, you put the fans on as soon as you realise that. But once they reach their maximum temperature, that's a good time. We can put the fans on. There's lots of different airline procedures about the brake fans, so I don't want to give you a specific instruction on it. But you don't tend to turn them on straight away after landing, and you would certainly turn them on before you park, because if you turn them on after they've gotten very hot, there could be brake dust on them, and it will blow out all around the ground crew, which isn't very pleasant for them. So you'd make sure you turn them on before you parked. Okay, we're going to the stand to the right of 4-2. Which makes sense. Okay, I know there's an airplane there, so we'll just have to pretend there isn't. Turn off the lights so we don't blind the ground crew. Long airplane, so we make sure we get it pretty reasonable, and then we can bring the nose around nice and slowly. If it's wet, it's very easy to slide the nose wheel on this airplane. Yeah, if someone could tell me how to remove this sort of scenery, that'd be very much appreciated. I don't have the save dock thing, but that would appear in front of us. So what I will do is cheat slightly. Looks like we're eating another airplane. Long airplanes, let's put it there.
Manchester Grand Speedbird
Brake is set. The APU is available. You can see the brake is set there, so we can shut down the engines. We can let passengers walk around as they'll be desperate to, as usual with passengers. Wait for the N1 to reduce in speed. There we go, below 10% seems pretty safe. Turn off the beacon. That means the ground crew can now approach the airplane. And the jet bridge would start attaching almost immediately. And we would do some other bits. Turn off the transponder, weather radar, and so on. I hope that's been interesting to you. We can see the brake fans now reducing the temperatures there. I hope that's been of some fun for you to see a slightly different sort of flying for my videos. I'll be doing, in fact, let me get rid of air traffic control, so let's change that frequency. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. I hope it was interesting for you, and if there's anything else you'd like to see, please do let me know. More videos coming out, including tutorials on this Airbus aircraft for you. So please keep the feedback coming. It's great to hear, so I know what you guys do and don't like to see. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again next time.